bring back in my guests with me, attorneys David Bruno and Randy Kessler. And Randy, you know, I'll start with you. We talked a little bit there with Julia about this chilling letter. And as I said, there's always these signals. He's about 15 years old. We know this happened when he was 19, just a short 4 years later. Part of the narrative, I think, being put forth by the defense is that these services somehow failed him, tried to get help, they failed him, and in turn failed everyone in society, including, or particularly, those victims in this case. Was that an effective part of the defense's case, that letter?
You know, it can't hurt, right? He's got nowhere to go but up. He's, you know, after the victim impact statements and all the family's testimony, I mean, it was over for him. He's got nowhere to go. You got to try everything you can try. And maybe society failed him. Maybe we as a society failed him. And more importantly, it's not failing him. We failed the victims. He's still around. He had a, you know, is it going to work? Is it enough to say, yes, we failed him, so then we forgive what he did, or then we justify what he did? I don't think it rises to that level. They don't have much else. They had to use it. I don't think it was that effective. But, you know, when that's all you got, you use it, you make the most of it. That's about as much as I think they're going to get out of it, is that they put on their defense. And, you know, we've seen more appealing, more sympathetic arguments than this one.
Yeah, and I guess at the end of the day, David Bruno, the idea is, can they turn that sympathy, if there is some, and it only takes one juror, if turn that sympathy into mercy? How do you think they're doing thus far? There are 11 witnesses in, as you heard from Julia. We're expected to go another couple of weeks, so we can probably expect another 10, 12 witnesses. How do you think they're doing thus far?
The defense, Michael, I'm unpersuaded, along with Randy as well. I mean, look, this block can show the public the difference between involuntary commitment and freedom and independence. And this is where the Constitution and our legal rights, they do not align all the time. And when we see these cases, they're so troubling because we see the red flags, but also the police, the family members, the public at large. We have limitations as to what we could do. And even that doctor, that psychologist that testified right there, said that he didn't have enough for the involuntary commitment under the Baker Act. He was trying to get voluntary inpatient, which basically said to me that there wasn't enough even then. Now look, hindsight's 2020, and I'm sure there's a little cover your butt here for the doctor because he was a treating doctor there. But at the same time, it just shows me the difference between what we can do under the law and what we can't do. And sometimes when we can't do these things like committing individuals in light of red flags, we get these results, and that's the unfortunate thing about our process.
Yeah, Randy Kessler, I think David Bruno frames it perfectly there. When you look back in hindsight at these types of cases, you do see these red flags, you do see, but the law does not allow them to be sort of put away, and I don't want to use the word put away, but finding the right environment for them where they can be safe, and not only themselves, but society be safe as well. And again, that seems to be what this defense is setting up, that if you want a bad guy here, they started with the mother who was not a loving mother, the mother who didn't want him, the mother who apparently drank and did drugs while he was in utero, which led to his fetal alcohol syndrome. And then you have society. You have all these doctors. You have the laws. You have Florida. They even mentioned Florida being the land of guns and that contributing to all of this. But again, the question is, are there enough other bad guys for one of these jurors, just one, to say, you know what, this kid never had a chance?
Maybe, and you know, it's sort of an interesting philosophical discussion, but at the end of the day, the question is going to be, do those families get justice? But philosophically, yes, there were signs, there were flags, but you know what? There are red flags and signs all throughout society, and we just don't have the person power to go out and say, this person needs to be put away, that person needs to be put away, out of an abundance of caution. Look, even when someone's done something like this, caught, you know, red-handed, we still give them the benefit of the doubt that the state has to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt, except in a case like this where they admit guilt. You know, so we're giving people that are accused the benefit of the doubt. What about people that aren't even yet accused? People that have had bad dreams like he had, or that have had bad thoughts, or that post bad things online. Are we going to go out and arrest them and put them in jail for thinking bad things? And we get very Orwellian, very 1984ish. It's a balance. You know, and there are people now, and there are victims in this case that would say, yeah, if someone's got things like that and sounds like that, we should put them away and safeguard them and us. It's a longer discussion than we have time for today, but I don't think it gets him off the hook for the death penalty unless, like you said, there's one person that just says, I'm just against this. I don't want to put somebody to death and have it be on my shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, the defense promised that once they were done with their presentation, at least one juror would find a reason to save this kid's life. Still a long way to go, but I think there's a lot of explaining still to do. They're going chronologically. They're at the age of about 12, 13, 14, 15. I imagine they're going to go right up until the time of the shooting. All right, guys, stand by. It's time for us to take a quick break. When we come back.